Hello, everybody. It's Reed Mahalko from readaboutsex.com, and I need your help today. I have a dilemma, and my dilemma is with language. Language. And my dilemma is actually a good dilemma, and I think what I'm going through might be something that you're going through. And so, what I'm going to teach today and ask you to help me out with, hopefully resonates for you and lands on you in a way where you're like, oh my goodness, that was useful. And what's going to be really funny about today is we've got some problems or some challenges with language and some good things that language can do. Language does a lot of things, but I'm going to keep it to 3 for this video. Some of you, when you heard me say the word resonate, might have had a little throw up come up into your mouth and been like, I hate that word. I hate when people use that word resonate. So the word resonate itself may not resonate for you, which is basically to say that language, when we use certain words or phrases, language can alienate. It can actually shut down communication and connection. And this is something I'm starting to deal with, and I'll explain my dilemma in a second. Another thing that language can do is language can start to drag culture into places that we don't necessarily want culture. It's not helping. For those of you who've checked out the free relationship videos on relationship10x.com, which is one of my products, the free videos there, the first one on romance, I talk about how when I teach people about romance, I don't talk about men and women. I talk about cats and dogs. And you can go to that website and check it out and watch that. But basically, the reason I don't talk about romance in the terms of men and women is that, all of a sudden you can end up dragging all your cultural baggage into the conversation. And then all of a sudden I'm talking about, getting your partner to be more romantic, and you're pissed off at the last, 7 people you dated because they all screwed you over somehow. And so language can drag culture in unintentionally. Language can also free us from culture as well, which a lot of people don't necessarily talk about. In some of the more activisty political communities I hang out in and we geek out in, so I'll use Tantra, for example, and sacred sexuality. There's a lot of appropriation of Sanskrit terms. Rather than calling something a penis, you call it your lingam. Rather than calling it a vulva or a vagina, you call it your yoni. And I have friends who love to bust on the Tantra community and be like, please do not call my junk my yoni. Please call it my junk. And from an activist perspective, we can get into a conversation about, appropriating language and what that means. But what we don't talk about sometimes is the appropriation or borrowing of other languaging can actually free us from cultural baggage. So if you have a lot of sexual shame and it's really difficult for us to talk about your vagina or your penis, me calling it a yoni or a lingam, like swapping words out, for you all of a sudden might allow you to start having a conversation about your genitalia that wasn't possible before because of, you were whatever your baggage growing up, got thrust upon you. So sometimes, sidestepping the whole appropriation conversation, which has its own, it's problematic in a lot of ways. Sometimes language can actually free us from cultural baggage, and that can be useful when used appropriately. The other thing about language, which is really what most of us are hoping to do usually when we use it, is using language in a way that connects people and gets people to open up. So in the way of using this and applying it to your relationships, if I understand, that I'm a pragmatist and I want to talk about intimacy and communication, and you taking responsibility for your words, so that we can, deepen our connection, and all that kind of, talk that for you might land on or borderline kind of resonate for you as like therapy speak, you start to shut down. But, and I'll use Tantra again, like if I come at it from a perspective of, honey, I want to connect, and open up our hearts, so that we can really, drop in with each other and recognize the divinity in our union. And I know there's going to be friends watching this video who are rolling their eyes, while other people watching this video are getting more excited and feeling more seen with how I'm languaging what my intention is. This is useful because when you start to get present to, are you using language that's alienating the people you're trying to communicate with? Are you unintentionally dragging culture into it or freeing yourselves from culture? And are you creating more connection or creating less connection? You can start changing the language that you're using so that the people that you're trying to communicate with feel more seen and heard and open up more. For me as a teacher, this is really useful because if I'm not shutting you down and if I'm connecting with you on a deeper level, I'm creating an environment where it's easier for you to learn and integrate the stuff that I'm sharing. So you can kind of look at how you're communicating in your personal relationships, even in your business relationships with your family, to use language to your advantage. And that means you can start asking the people that you're talking to, like, what kind of languaging works best for you? Like, how can I connect with you more? Which is my dilemma now here in talking with you is, as basically because you all have been so amazing and sweet and supporting me in my work, I'm becoming more famous, air quotes around famous. So I'm being invited to work with people and programs and communities and organizations that target really specific demographics and are using languaging that may not be as inclusive as I would normally use because I'm a language geek. But just because their language is less inclusive, air quotes, doesn't mean it's not resonating for the people that they're targeting or trying to help or reach. So I'll use Ariel Ford's amazing call series that I just participated in and was quite intimidated by because I was invited to share my thoughts and ideas along with Deepak Chopra and Jonathan Gray, Marianne Williamson, Alison Armstrong, like people that I was like, wow, like these people are like famous. And they were using, her whole series was called Attract Your Soulmate Now. And soulmate is not a phrase that really just falls out of my mouth all the time. However, for people who are looking for that lifelong partner or that partner where they feel like really met, like we're soulmates, that phrase is really powerful. And just because I don't use it doesn't mean it's not a good phrase to use for certain demographics. And so my dilemma and what I'm asking you for help for is please tell me in the comment sections below this video, email me at read@readaboutsex.com. Tell me the languaging that works best for you. I need to know you guys better so that I can be more inclusive and drop in language that works for you guys. And also be able to tell you ahead of time, like if I'm a part of some call series that's for, straight, super religious folk who want to get married in a year and have babies, I can tell you guys really quickly, hey, just so you know, this is a call series for this demographic. Don't be offended by the use of their language. They're not talking to you personally. They're talking to these people. So I'm playing this interesting, detective work here. I want to know the languaging that works really well for you guys. And I'm also assuring you that, to the extent that I can promise this to you all, I'm doing my due diligence to work with people who have really high integrity, who I think are designing really great programs to reach large amounts of people and help them. And so I'm consciously working with a lot of different kinds of people and trying to work with lots of different demographics. So I apologize in advance if you see me promoting something that you're just like, what the heck is he doing? If you ever have a problem or a question about anything that I'm involved in, I really am inviting you to email me at read@readaboutsex.com and just be like, dude, what's up? You're promoting this thing here and I'm offended. Tell me what's going on. There's a good chance I've got some information that will may not assuage your fears at all. You might still be angry at me. But know that to the best of my ability, I'm trying to work with good people, or at least people who are reaching populations I think are important. And I'm always going to bring the best content I have every time I show up and try to help as many people as I can. So thank you so much. Let me know what kind of language works for you, what doesn't, what was useful about this little video, and I will end it here. Thank you so much for watching. It's Reed from readaboutsex.com. Bye.